Alright, everyone, you need to sit down. You need to pull up a chair and listen very, very closely, because what I am about to tell you is not just another Meghan Markle controversy. This one has the potential to blow her entire public image, her entire carefully constructed brand, sky high. Forget the Netflix flops, forget the Spotify grift, forget the endless, pathetic PR stunts. We are now talking about something far darker, far more dangerous, and absolutely, unequivocally impossible for her to spin away. We are talking about the Epstein scandal. Yes, you heard me right. Meghan Markle is now caught in the terrifying, swirling whirlwind surrounding the Epstein list. A bipartisan group of House lawmakers in the United States is now pushing ahead with a petition that could force a vote to release the full unredacted Epstein files. And the panic, the sheer unadulterated terror behind the high walls of their Montecito mansion is reportedly unbearable. And why? Because this time, there is no palace aide to protect her. There is no Hollywood executive who can polish her brand. There is no carefully scripted PR stunt that she can hide behind. This time, the voices that are coming forward are the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein themselves, and they are threatening to name names. And let me tell you, Meghan Markle knows better than anyone that if her name, even for a single fleeting second, appears on that list, her entire world collapses overnight. Now, I know you guys are excited for more, but before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So now, on the 4th of this month, a Republican representative, Thomas Massie, and a Democrat representative, Ro Khanna, held a hearing that shook both Washington and Hollywood to their very core. This was not about speculation or social media gossip. This was about the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein standing on the steps of the U.S. Capitol and openly, bravely declaring that they would start naming names. Just think about that for a second. These survivors, after decades of being silenced by a web of powerful lawyers, by money, and by intimidation, are now ready to expose everything. They even said that they would create their own Epstein list. And suddenly, Meghan Markle's name has started trending again. And it's not because she has launched another tedious podcast or another cringeworthy Netflix show, but because people all over the world are now asking one single, chilling question. Will Meghan Markle be on that list? For years, the Epstein list has been the stuff of whispers, of dark Reddit threads, of tabloid teasers, and half-baked conspiracy theories. But now, it is a weapon in the hands of the very people who actually lived through the unimaginable nightmare of Epstein's world. And here's the key, devastating detail for Meghan. Thomas Massie himself pointed out that while the victims could get sued for naming names, members of Congress cannot. Thanks to a little thing called the Speech and Debate Clause of the U.S. Constitution, lawmakers are legally protected when they are speaking on the House floor. And that means that names can be read directly into the congressional record. No lawsuits, no gag orders, no NDAs can stop it. And that is Meghan's ultimate nightmare. Because if anyone, a victim or a lawmaker, speaks her name, even by the faintest association, she will not be able to hide behind her army of pit bull lawyers. The entire world will hear it, raw and unfiltered. And let's be brutally honest with ourselves for a moment. Meghan's so-called yacht girl past has followed her for decades. Long before she was the Duchess of Sussex, long before she got her claws into Prince Harry, long before the Oprah interview, Meghan was a struggling Z-list actress, desperately trying to climb Hollywood's greasy social ladder. Multiple reports, old acquaintances, and resurfaced photographs all point to her mingling in the most elite and often sordid circles, including yacht parties with incredibly wealthy men and shadowy international figures. Now, does that automatically tie her to Jeffrey Epstein? Of course not. But when you combine the persistent, years-long whispers about yachts, about glamour trips, about private invitations to exclusive islands, with Epstein's now notorious history of using those very same things, yachts, islands, and global elites, to prey on young women, suddenly the dots don't look so very far apart anymore, do they? And this is why the panic in Montecito is so real. Because Meghan's past is not spotless. And the Epstein scandal makes every single unanswered question about her past look 10 times darker, 10 times more sinister. And here is the detail that Meghan's PR team, for all their millions, simply cannot spin away. These victims are fed up. They are not hiding anymore. They are not afraid anymore. And they are not going to be silenced with money or with legal threats. They want the entire world to know the truth, no matter how big, no matter how powerful the names on that list are. And here is the absolute kicker, the height of the hypocrisy. Meghan has built her entire brand on being a champion of women, on speaking truth to power, on claiming that she is a voice for the voiceless. But if her name, even tangentially, gets tied to the Epstein circle, that entire brand, that entire fraudulent persona implodes in a single fiery moment. Can you even imagine it? Meghan Markle, the so-called champion of women, being exposed as someone who may have brushed shoulders with the most notorious abuser of women in modern history. That is not just embarrassing, that is reputationally catastrophic. And then there is Prince Harry, the man who is always talking about truth, the man who is always preaching to the rest of us about mental health, the man who never stops giving us lectures on morality. Yet on this, the biggest, darkest scandal that is now swirling around his own wife, absolute, deafening silence. Not a single word, not a denial, not a statement defending his wife. And that silence is making people all over the world wonder. If Meghan had absolutely no ties, no connection whatsoever to Epstein's sordid world, wouldn't Harry be the very first person to shut these rumors down? Wouldn't he be on camera, with his face contorted in that familiar look of angry indignation, yelling about the injustice of these rumors? Instead, the Montecito mansion is silent. And when it comes to scandals of this magnitude, silence is not protection. Silence is suspicion. And if you've noticed, Buckingham Palace is not lifting a single finger to defend Meghan. Not a statement, not a clarification, not even a whisper of off-the-record support. And why is that? Because deep down, the palace knows what Meghan Markle represents. A liability. They have seen the headlines. They have watched her past unravel. And now, with Epstein's victims threatening to name names, they are not going to burn what's left of their own credibility by defending her. In fact, palace insiders are saying that this silence is deliberate. It is a calculated move to send a clear message to the world. She is on her own, and that is devastating for Meghan. Because when even the royal family, the institution that protected Prince Andrew for years and years, will not back you up, you know that you are truly, utterly toxic. And let's not sugarcoat this. Meghan's brand, Sussex Royal 2.0, has been collapsing for months. The Netflix numbers are down. Spotify has dumped her. Archewell has barely made a headline except for its questionable financial audits. And her influencer projects have mysteriously vanished into thin air. Now throw the speculation of the Epstein scandal into that mix. Can you imagine any corporation, any sponsor, any network deciding whether to attach their name to Meghan Markle if her reputation is even slightly tied to Epstein's world? For billion-dollar brands, it is not worth the risk. And once the big sponsors step away, Meghan's so-called empire, if you can even call it that, crumbles completely. Her fear isn't just about the headlines. It is about her financial survival. We all know Meghan's go-to move when she is cornered. Lawsuits. She has sued the tabloids. She has sued media outlets. She has threatened lawsuits against anyone who has dared to question her pregnancies. But this time, it will not work. Because when the United States Congress is involved, lawsuits are completely and utterly useless. The speech and debate clause protects those lawmakers who say names out loud in hearings. And if Epstein's victims are testifying under oath, those statements become a part of the permanent public record. No judge, no lawyer, and no NDA can ever erase it. And Meghan knows this. She can threaten all she wants, but once her name is spoken on that floor, it is game over. Here's the irony. Even if Meghan never ever appears on the Epstein list, her sheer panic is what is destroying her. The frantic PR moves, the whispered threats of lawsuits that never materialize, the deafening silence from Harry, the complete lack of any palace support, all of it creates the undeniable perception of guilt. And in today's media landscape, perception is everything. Meghan's critics are already saying, if she is innocent, why is she acting so afraid? And that question in and of itself is lethal to her reputation. Because when brave victims are ready to speak, when Congress is ready to protect them, and when the entire world is waiting to listen, an innocent person would be cheering them on. But Meghan is silent, and that silence isn't power. It is pure, unadulterated fear. Her future no longer hangs on a Netflix contract or a PR campaign. It hangs on one single, terrifying possibility: whether her name will be read aloud in a congressional hearing. And if it is, Meghan's story is not a royal fairy tale anymore. It is a cautionary tale of the darkest kind. What do you guys think of this whole insane situation? Is this the final nail in the coffin for her brand? Let me know everything you are thinking down in the comments. Let's really get into this because it is just mind-blowing. Until next time, take care. Ta-ta, and bye for now.